Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to resume working on our Puukko project, the full build series with all the details on these serialized special pattern welded Damascus steel Puukkos that we're building just for YouTube here, the series. And of course they'll be available when they're finished. And the point that we're at today is we have all four pieces, the other one's in the vise, twisted up, flattened out. And the next thing we need to do is take and grind all these surface inclusions off of the billets. All right, that's quite a bit of grinding, but it is necessary to get all of those little inclusions off of the surface, out of the steel before we go to forging it anymore, because if we don't, those can basically grow or lengthen and you end up with cracks in your steel and, heaven forbid, worst case scenario, in your finished product. There's no way to keep those inclusions from happening on this twist Damascus. Rounding the bar like we did helps a lot, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have some of that. So removing that material is necessary, and at this point we can go ahead and start forging this down to the actual stock that we're going to forge the blades out of. At this point in the project, I'm a little skeptical that I can actually make as many blades or knives out of this stock that I originally thought I might be able to, which was, 15 to upwards of 20 knives was kind of my goal. Part of that reason is because we had to cut off some of the billet when the end of the weld didn't take. I was able to get two nice pieces of steel from that, where we took those apart just on the weld that didn't take. The rest of it was just fine. So that's on their, these are on their own journey here, separate video, but that leaves us a little less stock. And then of course the routine grinding and all that kind of stuff that you have to do when creating pattern welded Damascus steel. So I'm not sure how many blades we're actually going to be able to make. It might be closer to 10, which will be fine. So it is what it is, but we're going to continue forward and make as many knives as we can. So on that note, I'm going to do something that I don't typically do, which is try to plan better than I typically do. And the way I'm going to do that in this case is to forge a prototype, because there's two things that I want to accomplish with that. First of all, I want to forge a very uniform batch of blades, so they're very, very similar throughout this whole batch. Secondly, I want to make the best use of this material as possible. In other words, make as many knives as we can out of this pattern welded Damascus steel. So to accomplish that, what I'm going to do is take some plain 50-100 stock, and I'm going to forge it to a bar stock that I'm going to turn our Damascus into, which is going to be a 1/4 inch by maybe 1 inch, something in that neighborhood. And then I'm going to cut a specific amount, specific length that I think will be adequate for this size of knife, and then forge the knife. If I guess correctly, then we can move forward. If it's not quite big enough to make the knife that I'm trying to make, then I'll have to try again, start over, cut a little bit longer section, and forge the knife. Okay, so I went ahead and forged 1 inch by 1/4 inch, approximately, pretty close. And I think that stock size is going to be the ticket for this project. And here is, of course, our original sketch of this build. So the blade shape's not quite what I was trying to draw, but the length is pretty close. And so we're going to estimate our stock dimensions based on that. So overall length here, 6 1/4 inches. I think if we give ourselves 4 inches, well, let's say 4 1/4, but I'm going to do this a little differently here. We're going to go 4 1/4 here, but we're going to angle this like so. A little steeper here. So our actual total length is going to be about 5 inches. And this is a little more stock that I would probably use if I was just doing a mono steel blade, but keeping in mind that we do have to leave the Damascus blades a little fatter, a little more material, because we have to make sure that we're not leaving any forge finish on there, because we have to get rid of all the decarb and everything like that to get a good etch and a good pattern on it. So let's try this. So the next thing I want to do is delineate where the tang is going to start. I don't know, maybe this is too much stock. So 3 inches right here on our blade. I think I used too much stock here. This is still hot. Maybe it will burn the paper, maybe it won't. If this turns out right, I want to make sure I know what I'm doing. And then I need to mark where the tang forging starts here. All right, well, let's see how we did here. This is our template, and let's see. Okay, well, we have way more than enough for the tang, and plenty for the blade here. So thickness on the blade here, yeah, a little over 3/16 in the ricasso area, about 3/16 just in front of the ricasso, and then a distal taper, so that's good. I think I'm going to take a full 1/2 inch off of the tang end and a 1/4 inch off of the blade end, and see how that works. Okay, so this is take 2. Got this little blade forged up, great little blade. It's gonna be a fun little knife. However, it doesn't really look like, I mean, it kind of does, but not enough. Doesn't really look like our drawing here. And you know, maybe we'll change this a little bit. I mean, like I said initially, several videos ago, I prefer to, I'm not good at drawing blades, and so this is a representation of what I want to make, but it's not, like I said, I think several times when I was drawing it, it's not quite right. I don't know. Anyway, there's a couple of things on here that I do need to address though. One is that I've got a ricasso area here, and the edge drops down. That's not the case with this, and it shouldn't be the case in a Puukko design. So need to address that. That's probably the main thing. I did get this blade stretched out a little further than I would on a Damascus steel. This is fine actually for, you know, leaving even a little bit of forge finish up here, but I'm not going to be doing that on the Damascus blades, so I need to pay attention to that when we go to forge the pattern welded Damascus blades. So that's a little bit different. And then we still have plenty of material for the tang. I think I'm going to leave it there, and I did leave this thicker than the last one, and I like that. So I really like this overall. I just need to work with the blade profile a little bit more, and essentially keep this in line, a little bit narrower. So how do you do that with forging the bevel and keeping it the right width? Well, I think one way would be to start with narrower stock. So we're going to try this one more time here, or at least a third time anyway. And I'm going to start by forging our test stock down to 7/8, or excuse me, 3/4. And then we're going to forge one more blade and see if we can keep it a little closer to the drawing. All right, we've got our bar drawn out to 5/16 by 3/4. And I hope that's the secret sauce here. So let's cut off another section. We're gonna go with the same length we did last time and see how that works. All right, third time's the charm, right? I don't know. The blade's still a little bit too long, so I'm gonna cut 1/4 inch off our stock. That's been proven to be a little bit too long. Overall, it's not too bad. It's a little narrower than the drawing, but I can spread that out a little bit easily enough. All right, well, the other thing about this blade is that it's 7/8 inch wide instead of 1 inch wide like our drawing. However, I think that's probably more appropriate for a blade this size anyways. What I'm going to do now is just go ahead and clean this profile up into more of the blade shape that I want. All right, well, it happened again. Just came together on the grinder. This looks good, feels good. I like it. I like it. I like it. So I'm gonna trace this out. I'm gonna give myself an actual template. We're gonna build out of a piece of sheet metal, and that way we can forge the blades and then dial them right in to our specific profile. I use a piece of sawmill blade because it is hardened and tempered, so it will last better as a template. And it's a nice thickness as well, so it kind of works out pretty good. Now the thing I am going to do differently on this template here is I'm going to continue this width through the ricasso area and eliminate that drop edge there. But other than that, it's going to be really the same. 'Tis a delicate operation. Okay, well the fact is that we really need to cut more off, because the tang is only going to go to here, right? And then all of this is actually part of the tang, because we're not doing a ricasso like that, at least not that big, maybe 1/8 of an inch. So honestly, this is what our template actually should look like. And so I've got a lot of material right in here that doesn't need to be there. It's essentially going to be ground away to form the rest of the tang. So I need to take another 1/4 inch off the tang end here on our stock size, and then I think I already took 1/4 off on here, so we should be good with that. All right guys, there it is. This is our template, and this blade is a little bit longer than the original drawing. On the drawing, the entire blade was, supposed to be 3 inches. In this case, the actual edge is 3 inches from here to here, and that leaves us a little, about 3/16 inch for a ricasso or whatever. But I think that'll be good. I like that. And maybe we'll make the handle just a tad longer. Anyway, that's what we're going to roll with. So now we can actually start forging out our stock. All right, well, the good news is that we should be able to get all 20 knives out of just these 3 pieces of stock. This is the 4th one here, and you'll notice just how much this is drawn out now, and you'll see why getting a nice tight twist on these pieces was a priority, because it's going to be stretched out but still a nice twist pattern on that. So the next step is to mark these out, and we can start cutting sections and actually start forging our Damascus EDC Puukko blades. I hope you guys have enjoyed this more in-depth look at the process as we continue to forge ahead toward a batch of completed knives. Thanks for coming along on this installment. We will see you on the next one. I appreciate all your guys' support with the comments, liking the video, all that great stuff. So thanks again, and we'll see you on the next video.